Hello, welcome to part 2 of my Kethane Mining Program. So in the last part I found some Kethane deposits on Kerbin and I sent out a mining ship to go drill for it and start collecting it. And so now I have to build something that can go out there and convert that to fuel and bring it back to the KSC. I realize in hindsight I probably should have just sent out something to bring the Kethane back because it's actually lighter and I could have just, converted it here at the KSC, but hindsight's always 20/20, right? So here I am in the spaceplane hangar again, obviously in 4 times acceleration, because this is about 15 minutes of video footage, and that's actually edited down from a good few hours of dicking around with the game. So I'm just building a big orange tank with a docking port at the end that's at the same height as the docking ports on the Kethane miner. And so the idea is that I'm just going to sort of fly it over there and drive it into the other thing and it'll dock on the side and it'll be perfect. Yeah, if only things worked out so smoothly. So this is my first attempt here. I just have the landing gear on there for wheels. Because they have no motors, I also have some RCS on there. And I do discover actually that doesn't work. The gravity is too high on Kerbin, it's too heavy, the RCS ports are too weak, or whatever. It doesn't move. If it's on a hill, which it is, even just a gentle slope, it will just roll where it wants to roll and the RCS ports aren't going to do anything, so you do need rover wheels. And yeah, building a rocket on its side is just a pain in the arse, it really is. But yeah, just realizing those engines aren't powerful enough. And if you'll notice, I'm actually using more fuel to get it there than it's going to bring back. Yeah, that's more tanks than the big orange there. It's more fuel than that can carry. Well, yeah, we'll just pretend that that's not happening. But no, I do kind of address that later on. I have a different vehicle which can transport these things over there. But spoilers alert, we'll show that later. And so, yeah, I stuck a load of solar panels on here as well, because there just wasn't actually enough on the driller. I was running out of power. And yeah, attaching things in the spaceplane hangar, is it just me or is it annoying as hell? I was getting seriously frustrated with it, because they would just be like glued to the floor, and I tried to be picking them up and putting them in the right place, and yeah, I think you may see some aborted launches here. Is this okay? Because yeah, again, it wasn't very balanced. I just had to put a big old stack of reaction wheels in it, which is the great thing about the new SAS system, is you can just strap a crap load of reaction wheels to it and it will, it'll be a lot more controllable even if it's severely unbalanced. So yeah, you can see that. I don't know if you saw me attaching them, but you can see there's some rover wheels on there. So I can drop the landing gear down, or raise the landing gear and drive the thing around. And then just drop the landing gear down when I want to dock it and have it stay still, which is a good thing when you're trying to drill for Kethane. So yeah, I do use MechJeb's landing guidance just to sort of get me somewhere close to the target. I didn't mean to switch to it, I was trying to set it as a target. But I don't know, I think it does bizarre things, like it just pushes the orbit up to 100 kilometers, which when I'm just going on a ballistic arc is just completely unnecessary. Like, it seems to just waste a lot of fuel, but that's just meggem all around, really, isn't it? It does like to waste the fuel. So, I think the key word for this, or the key phrase for this program is proof of concept. Because, yeah, as we'll see at various points during this episode, things just go wrong all the time. Like, really wrong. Things explode, or disappear, or just don't work like they're supposed to. And so, you know, I'm not going to make this like a career mode. If I can prove that you can send over fuel tankers to a fuel deposit and then bring the fuel back, and there goes some solar panels there falling off, but we got some left, that's okay. Yeah, if I can prove that you can do it, then I can assume that it's being done, right? So once I have a fuel mining operation that is presumably renewable, I can then just go ahead and explore the planet, explore the planets with impunity. And yeah, there you go, that's landed. Well, it landed on its front. And it gets worse with the second one. It's combat landings, I think they call them. Yeah, just... It's alright though, it landed on its nose and kind of tipped onto the wheels. And yeah, if you think I'm bad at docking in space, then I'm just even worse at docking on the ground. It's really hard though. Like, you don't know. Like, the docking ports have to be exactly right to dock. And you don't realize in space because there's no gravity. Yeah, you see the RCS being ineffectual there. But yeah, there's no gravity or resistance or anything in space, so they just kind of wobble around and do a little shimmy next to each other, and then eventually they just go wah and dock. But on the ground, you know, you're on wheels, you can't just sort of move in 6 degrees, so it's really hard to get it just spot on. Like, I do manage it eventually with this, and I think the next thing I send out there, I didn't record it, but yeah, I just turned on hack gravity. Like, I got the docking ports just sort of basically lined up, and then just turned on hack gravity so they could sort of wobble around with the little magnets or something. But yeah, I figured I would just include this because yeah, it's just ridiculous. Like, I'm just like, no, reverse, go forward, no, reverse, wobble around a bit, go forward again. And yeah, it was about 12 minutes I think it took me. Which, yeah, it's speeded up to 4 times, so it's a little bit shorter for you guys, but yeah, I really dislike docking. But due to something that I realized after they docked, I actually installed the Kerbin attachment system mod, which I haven't used yet actually. But yeah, you can see the fuel converter is that green thing on the end of the Kethane tank. It doesn't actually transfer fuels to tanks unless they're totally adjacent to it. Like, it has to be attached to it. And yay, it docked. And something exploded, but that's not important. I don't even know what that was actually, I couldn't figure it out. But yeah, something exploded. And yeah, if you'll notice, the solar panels are just gone from the Kethane tank there. And they'll disappear on that big orange tank as well. But yeah, so the next tank that I had to send out there, like, I was racking my brains thinking, well, you know, I looked at the quantum fuel line mod to see if that could help, but it's not working with this version. So it filled up the monopropellant tanks. And yeah, there's a landing there, totally nosediving. But it just would not fill up the fuel tank, so I had to send out another conversion unit on the end of the big tank this time, because I can transfer fuel from this tank to the other tank, obviously. That's a thing you can do. You can just transfer the fuel across the docking nodes, but yeah, the converting unit thing, there's a lesson for you. It won't work unless it's attached to a tank. I didn't know this. It's my first time using Kethane mod. But yeah, you can see me trying to dock it again here. And the total lack of solar panels on any of this. It must be the Kraken. You know, it's loading the physics and the solar panels are just disappearing, so I've got a new set there and we can get rid of them. Or what's the opposite of deploy? Unploy? I don't know. But there it is there. I've fast forwarded and filled up those tanks with fuel and oxidizer and filled up the Kethane tank with Kethane, and you can see the wheels don't like driving around a full tank, as you might expect. So I'm just undocking them there. There are docking ports on the top so they can be picked up by a sky crane. And I did attempt to make a sky crane that would use less fuel than it would bring back, but I failed. It's not going to happen, not for those big orange tanks, and not on Kerbin. Maybe if we were on the moon. And so yeah, there was a couple of iterations of a little Kethane truck. This is the second one. It's the one I stuck with, a nice broad wheelbase so that it doesn't fall over. And we're going to transport that on a different kind of ship. Yep, I installed another mod. This is why I don't normally bother with mods, because once you install one, you want another one, and yeah, this is 5 mods now, I think. And I think there's an update imminent for the game, and if that breaks the mods, then, you know, that's that. You just have to deal with it. Not update for a while, or start a new save file. But yeah, so there she is. It's a big bloody aircraft carrier, which runs off uranium, which, yeah, I mean, it's something of a cheat, really. So I'm just popping Jebediah out, and he's just gonna use this lift here to get down to the ground, although he doesn't really need to. So he doesn't even fall over when he jumps off there. Jebediah the Brave. And so yeah, this Kethane truck has a docking port on the back. So what that can do, it's got the drills on the side as well, so it can go and fill itself full of Kethane, dock to the big fuel tanks, and drag them onto this ship. And then that could come back over here, and the uranium fuel seems to be infinite, which, yeah, it is really cheaty, but whoops. Yeah, quick reload there. So yeah, you can't really drive onto that thing though. I mean, if you had a proper boat with some little rover wheels on the back, then yeah. But you can't really drive a rover on there. So I do actually end up getting this onto the flight deck. This video will end rather abruptly, because as I was driving the boat away, intending to drive it across the ocean, I just EVA'd one of the Kerbals just for fun, you know, see if I could run around on the poop deck while it was floating away. And the game crashed, and I just went, bollocks to this, because yeah, I'd spent quite a long time with stuff going wrong and not working and having to install mods, and yeah, like trying to get this thing on here itself was a pain in the backside. I did have a laugh about it though, because I just used Jebediah to push it on. But yeah, it does get on there eventually. I used the little lifts to lift it up onto the deck. And after the game crashed, I loaded it up, and it was gone. The ship was still there. It was still right where I left it. And I did quick save it with this truck on the deck. And it was just gone. Like, no debris, No little bouncing wheels or anything in the water. It's just gone, completely disappeared. So yeah, like proof of concept. If the game didn't do weird stuff like make vehicles disappear, then this would actually work. I would be able to get these transport trucks on here and send them across the ocean to collect the kethane. And yeah, I couldn't actually get Jebediah back on the boat. There's no ladders or anything around there, so oh well, he can stay behind. He's fine. So in the next part I shall probably send one of the probes in orbit, because there's one at least in a polar orbit that has not used any of its fuel, and it has more than enough to get to the moon. So I think I shall send one of those probes to the moon to start scanning for kethane there. And then, yeah, I can start actually exploring the planets using fuel that I have theoretically mined from Kerbin. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.